How is everyone doing today? Welcome to the Sounds Like Liberty podcast. I am your host, Nikki P. Here, as always, with my lovely wife and beautiful co-host, Lizzie.
Greetings.
Oh, what are we greeting them for?
For joining us on the Sounds Like Liberty podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wonder how they found themselves here. What great misfortune has befallen
or fortune,
them.
you know, whatever. What intentional choices?
You think they were intentional?
Excellent intentional choices. Brought you here to hang out with us for a little while we do our thing that we do.
I see. I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't even know where I'm going with that.
So how have you been, Liz?
I have been how I have been.
You've been working hard. We've been having car troubles.
It's been hot. There's been the car troubles. There's been the things that happen when you're grown up and you have to make sure that stuff happens when stuff's supposed to happen. And, you know, your brain goes places and you think about things, but it has been good. I'm counting my blessings and they are numerous. So there we go.
Yeah, so when it's this hot, there are no blessings. It's just me sunburnt and angry.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to stay out of that one. It's very, very warm.
You know, up all night, we're doing brake jobs because I can't fucking do them during the day.
Yeah, it's too hot for brake jobs. Just burst into flames.
Too hot for brake jobs. Mm-hmm. Anyways, enough about car troubles.
Mm-hmm.
What do we starting things out with today? What are we analyzing?
Well, I picked a tune that I heard when we were driving back from Porkfest because at a certain point my brain just needs to go to a chill zone, and I do that really well with the old school cheesy rocky music that I used to listen to. So I threw on some Reliant K, and the song came up in the mix. This is College Kids.
All right.
And I thought it might be worth a look because, you know, that's some real talk that's going on right now.
Yeah.
About kids in college.
All that talk of debt forgiveness.
Yes. And this actually, the song I feel like is coming from sort of the beginning of that thought process when people were beginning to say, hey, wait a minute.
Well, as with most of the issues that are out there, you know, the whole college debacle is definitely a situation where they see a problem, mm-hmm. and the problem they're not wrong that there's a problem there. However, they're misdiagnosing. There's a problem there,
yeah,
and your fix is going to make it worse.
So much worse.
But anyways, let's take a look here. You want me to start reading?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Someone please save us. Us college kids. What my parents told me is what I did. They said go to school and be a college kid. But in the end, I questioned why I did. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
I mean, you spent a lot of money on this thing that you're not going to get near enough return on. I
mean, I basically just went until the grant money ran out. I was one of those people. But at the time that I went, I had no idea what the heck I wanted to actually do. So it's still essentially wasting tax dollars, which is even worse.
I'm poor. I'm starving. I'm flat broke. I've got no cash to spend. I remember that. I sell all my books for front row tickets to Dave Matthews Band.
That's not a good call.
Yeah, that's pretty bad economic decisions. But I mean, when you give people money to do this stuff,
this is true.
They're probably not trained to make.
They've not proven themselves at all.
Yeah, my girlfriend's at another school. I know this year will test her. I called, found out she had 3 other boyfriends last semester.
Well, I just don't even know what to say to that.
You say you're kids. You're doing kid shit. Of course, she has 3 other boyfriends. It's the first time she's met people that she didn't go to high school with.
Yeah, this is probably true.
Anyways.
And that's why I say, oh no, not for me. No, not for me. Call it torture. Call it university. Arts and crafts is all I need. I'll take calligraphy and then I'll make a fake degree.
80 grand later, I found out that all that I had learned is that you show up to take your finals and your midterms. The party scene is kind of mean. I think it's sick and twisted. The Navy showed up at my dorm and claimed that I enlisted.
I mean, there is a good point in this verse in that if you have the experience of like being kind of insulated in this school situation all through high school, then you get to college. Not only do you have this money hanging over your head, but you have, you're finally making your own decisions. So you do have to choose between parties and actually, doing the schoolwork that you signed up to do. And, oh yeah, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, whoever may just show up and, try and talk you into throwing your life into that. And then, you have those responsibilities. It's basically just all the adult responsibilities. Well, almost all the adult responsibilities kind of being thrown at you in this really almost predatory way. Because it's not real life quite.
No. See, but that's what happens after college. During college, you're insulated. Nothing happens in college. It's adult, even remotely adult. You are a child. You're treated like a child for another 4 years. And then after another 4 years of coddling, you're expected to be an adult.
Right.
80 grand later, and all I learned is you got to show up for the tests. You mean 80 grand and you got no knowledge out of that? Mm-hmm. Which, frankly, from my experience in education, that's not entirely... If you go to college, you can do well and learn literally nothing. Mm-hmm. If you want to learn something... That takes a lot of work out of you.
Yeah.
Because no one's gonna help you. They just want to get you through, get the money, and that's it. And if they can keep you there longer, they will. So, yeah, the party scene did kind of suck. You have a bunch of vapid people that are in their 20s still acting like children. That part sucked for me personally. Mm-hmm.
But those might be choices that you didn't have before, which is what I guess I was trying.
It's very possible he just got drunk and accidentally signed up for the Navy.
Right, which they'll totally let you do.
They will absolutely let you do that. So, don't get excited. She'll say no, without a doubt, you see. And I've decided college girls just won't go out with me. They make me nervous and they always catch me off guard. Like cell phone service, I drop out because college is so too hard. Well, he's probably better off dropping out than finishing it. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He's not going to get an education worth a damn. He's clearly focused on the experience of college. Yeah. Which is something we saw very, very in the open with what's been going on these past couple months. Lori Loughlin and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those kids have no need. If they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get them into good schools, they could just give them that $100,000 to go start a business of their own.
Right, because they already have everything that they need to do that.
Yeah. They want the prestige of saying they went to the university. It's all like, whatever. If they want to waste money on that, I don't really care. So, why don't you finish this out here?
And this is kind of the verse that talks about that. Because he goes into I guess it's a bridge. It's time to call my father because it's his alma mater. Good grades aren't what they seem. I think he knows the dean. He says he's proud of me, but college always was his dream, and I would always say it's not for me. And our outro is back to someone please save us college kids. What my parents told me is what I did. They said go to school and be a college kid. But in the end, I questioned why I did. Do what will make you happy. Do what you feel is right. But only one thing matters. Learn how to live your life. I mean, and he's throwing God in here. Do what will make God happy. Do what you feel is right. But only one thing matters. Learn how to live your life. And it is, one of those bands I grew up with, so they would throw that in there. But I do feel like that's a good point. That's the end result that you're supposed to be getting out of college anyway, is learning how to make the life that you want. And
well, I would argue that's not why you go to college. That's what your parents should have fucking did in the years preceding you going to college.
Well, true.
You're throwing $80,000 to learn how to be happy. That's fucking retarded.
True.
It's dumb as hell.
But I feel like that's what people expect out of it.
Yeah. And they expect to rob the shit out of taxpayers to learn that lesson. Good job, guys.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, this is probably a Lou bag ad because he's not really prescribing something, but...
Yeah, I'll give you that. He sees the problem, and that is something I think, he would be right on the train to subsidize the shit. It's just a bad instinct, so...
Yeah.
Cool. Let's get on to the next section.
Welcome to I Heard This Happen, the segment for aging hipsters. Each week we scour Bandcamp for underground new releases to wow your teenage children. So without further ado, here's new music.
So why don't you start us out today? And I Heard This Happen.
Oh, all right. Let's do that. I have a record called Sailing England, and it's by The Pounds.
And I laughed so hard when I saw this because I'm not sure if this band knows they did this or not. But if you read that all the way, Sailing England by The Pound, it's very, very close to Selling England by The Pound, which is a Genesis record.
Yeah, there we go. They are a pop band from Belgium. They're very, very folky, folks.
I was going to say, I don't know why you're calling them a pop band.
They call themselves a pop band, but they are very, very folky. There's harmonica, there's banjo, there's acoustic guitar. It's folk music. I like to hang out in that zone between super depressing and
it's some sad
charming
shit for sure.
So I found this super charming and possibly depressing. I don't know. But it was enjoyable. I really like the vocals. There's a little lilt, a little accent thing happening with the vocals, which I think is really delightful to listen to. And I realize that's probably not, something added. That's probably just the way this person happens to sing. And I think that's cool. It's always weird to me when bands try to sound generic. Why would you take away the
they sounded
cool,
pretty generic
weird
to me,
stuff about the vocally generic. I understand that this is basically that Americana trend across the pond, and I did mention, I'll probably put that in my comments.
Look at those little sheep.
That it is very oh yeah, more Americana. But I'm not mad about it. I get it. It's a thing that's happening right now, and I happen to like it. So. When that happens with fashion, there's a trend that I like. I will wear that trend, even though I generally find trends to be annoying because it's just an excuse to waste your money on some crap that's going to be out in 3 weeks. I just wear what I like. I listen to what I like. So I happen to like this. It's an EP, and you can check it out on Bandcamp. My favorite track was probably Walking Around. I like the one that they released as a single. Because it's a little bit more upbeat than the others, but Walking Around was interesting because it has some ambient noise, which is cute. It's gimmicky, but it's cute.
Ambient noise, huh?
Well, as though one were walking around while recording.
We're about to hear some more ambient noise too.
Yes, and there you go. There's your segue.
It is a segue. I saw that one coming 10 miles away, and I'm like, I'm gonna take this. Gonna pick it right up and just whoop right through it. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I have The Fleeting Light of Impermanence by the Appleseed Cast.
Nice.
I haven't heard anything by these guys in years until this, so I'm pretty excited. It is an 8-track album. It came out on the 28th, so quite recently. And how would I prep people for this? It's ambient. It is very, very rhythm driven. Mm-hmm. Some solid synthesizers. It's got vocals, but they're like I like them. They're part of the music. They're an added instrument. They're not just like this thing sticking out up front. I hate lyrics or vocals that stick out up front. Frankly, you got to be an absolutely amazing vocalist to warrant, being up and
in people's faces.
Yeah. I don't know that I could pick out a favorite song because I just didn't have that many passes through it. I listened to it and then I fell asleep to it and then I listened to it again, but like I was having some really good dreams during it. Nice, dark,
Yeah, no, that sounds like what you want.
Dark, evil dreams like I personally enjoy.
Right.
So, it's a really, really good sleepy time. Let's get complicated thoughts out kind of record.
Oh, nice.
So, and I'm enjoying also that they have, it's just, the cover is just black with some text on it.
Yeah.
That's a bold choice.
It's very, I don't know, something. Yeah.
I appreciate the boldness.
It is bold.
And then you apparently want to talk about a bit of Ben Folds record?
No, not at all. I just was curious, and I didn't look earlier because I forgot, because they were sheep and Belgian folk music, so.
Okay. All right, well, that has been this week's installment of I Heard This Happened. Let's talk a little bit about our guest this week.
He's a groovy dude.
Do you even remember our guest from this week?
Yes, I do, actually. It was one of the more recent interviews that we did.
He's actually one of the first people I asked to be on the show, and then we just kept forgetting to set it up.
So I'm glad that we were finally having him on and getting to get this content out here. So, yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
He has an interesting perspective on music that I'm not personally,
that kind of musician.
Well, I've just never been around that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You Christian people are weird.
We are, but everybody's weird. I guess that's the thing to me. Realizing that is a way of processing things, and everybody has their own way, but that doesn't make you especially weird, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's a business owner. I actually know him, I think, through the LP Mises Caucus website.
That's pretty cool.
Yep,
it's always nice to get Mises guys, persons on here.
Yeah, there's some interesting folk in there. And, as much as people want to yell at us and call us racist and stuff, I don't think that's accurate. So, well, without further ado, I'm going to try without further ado us. We should probably talk. So if you haven't been paying attention,
right, yeah.
I've actually been doing some other stuff. Most notably, I have been talking about the environment.
Yes.
On the Free Market Screen Earth podcast. That is now a podcast all its own. You should totally go listen to it. Me and Ben talk about all kinds of fun stuff. I also have the This Week in Liverpods podcast talking about libertarian podcasts. I'm actually going to be passing that mantle off to a friend from the Lions of Liberty forums. But if you want to learn new libertarian podcasts, it is the best way to do it. The response on that one in particular has been fantastic. So,
it's definitely a cool one to check out.
Anything else we need to throw out there, Liz?
Well, we could talk about that bonus thingy that's happening, or is that like a secret bonus thingy I should keep my mouth shut
no, you
about?
shouldn't. You shouldn't at all. We have started recording a bonus show for both us and the Launchpad. It is Married to Liberty.
There you go.
Where I ask Liz hard-hitting questions about what it's like being married to an asshole libertarian.
Not the way I would have phrased it, but I suppose that's accurate.
That's the way I'll phrase it. Also, I've got to update the ad for the Freedom Choir. So I think I'm going to change up a little bit of how it functions. I actually am going to be allowing people to watch the interviews live.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
And they can ask us questions while that's going on. I may or may not pay attention to their questions, but they can ask them.
Right. Get a little bit more interaction happening, a little bit more available content. Just like you can watch this in process, and just try and get my good side on the video, I guess.
You all your sides of the good side.
Aw, thanks, babe.
I mean, I'm the monster that's going to scare away their children.
I think it'll be a good time.
That is okay.
So, you can find out more about that and all of the other perks of the Freedom Choir on the website.
Support SLL.com, Liz. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
I know it's early in the day. I know it's hot.
And I just got back from work, but that's all right. You're going to listen to this awesome interview. And that won't be work.
This awesome interview with Mr. Jaron Widener.
I just assumed that was like the spirit of the 90s, it coming to us in song form. I didn't realize there was an actual artist attached to it.
Yeah, there was.
Oh, there you go.
So how we doing on your end, bud? Do you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Ooh, you're a little loud on my end.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's not you. That's I got controls and stuff.
We're never sure where the volumes should be on things until we actually hear people talking.
Give me a little more sound there.
Hey, testing 1, 2, 3.
Good.
Yay, he said stuff.
He did. I heard it. And then I went and found Ace of Base.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you doing on this fine Sunday?
I'm doing pretty good.
Well,
it's a hot day in Memphis, that's for sure.
What's that?
I'd believe that.
It's a hot day in Memphis.
I'm going to just guess that by my standards, every day in Memphis is a hot day in Memphis.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got Texas blood over here, so she can say whatever she wants to say, but
I hear it's gorgeous there.
I want to move up to like the Arctic.
Yeah, I know you
Live
do.
with the fucking polar bears.
Yeah, I know you do.
Chill out in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully not get eaten by Loch Ness monsters.
Right.
Right.
Anyways, so welcome to Sounds Like Liberty, Jaron. How do you pronounce your last name? I'm curious. I've only ever seen you. What was that?
It's Widener.
Widener.
Yeah, I know it's kind of weird. So there's I before E, except after C, and my last name.
Well,
Right.
I would have guessed that it was that's actually how you pronounced it, but I would have felt bad pronouncing it that way. Like this just seems too obvious. Like I assumed that maybe the W was pronounced like a V.
Widener.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like he's Jaron Widener.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's got like German roots. Yeah, so it's the Widener.
Dig it.
Nice. So, anyways, we met a number of months ago on the Mises Caucus page, and they said, "Hey, man, you should come on the show." He's like, "Yeah, we should totally do that," and then we never did it
Right.
because we're all grown ups with too much crap going on.
It happens.
So, why don't we start this off the way we do? It's been a while since we've actually had an interview, so how do we start these off? Don't we ask them questions about how they became libertarians?
That's
first?
the idea, yeah. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as like getting involved with like the libertarian philosophy and party and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the easiest place to start. Then we'll get into the music stuff. I just like to have the base code of why libertarians should care who you are outside of the music.
Yeah. I guess as far as like getting more formally involved was fairly recent, but I think there's always been philosophical leanings that direction ever since being a teenager. I remember I was probably like 16, wondering why things like homosexuality and abortion were such huge political topics at the time, and being kind of confused by that and being, wondering, weren't these more like social issues and not necessarily government's responsibility? Specifically like homosexuality. Regardless of my own opinion of it, I didn't understand why government was even involved with that. And so there's always been these sort of thoughts and things in my mind during my teenage years. and I always had this sort of individualist mindset of just wanting to be unique and try to create my own things and be myself, and that's a kind of a common theme.
Are you serious? I was of the mind that all libertarians were, deep collectivists, and we wanted to be exactly. It's like that episode of Squidbillies. Look at him. He's more on the ball than 95% of the other people. Look at him line dance. He does it exactly the same.
Yeah, just gotta fit in somehow,
Yeah.
Right on.
Right on. And so the music side of things, what exactly is your background in music? Because you're one of the people that's not just a professional appreciator.
Yeah. Let's see. I started in kind of the Christian punk rock scene, kind of in the late 90s. Like bands like MXPX and Fire Round Frenzy, Dogwood was kind of what I was into back then. And
we've never talked about them on the show.
Really?
I'm laughing really hard. We talked about them.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, that's what I was really into, and eventually I ended up going to Visible Music College here in Memphis to try to get into the music industry. I studied music business while I was there because that's kind of what my life was revolving around was all that sort of stuff. And I don't know, it wasn't quite the normal Christian music scene. It was definitely more the
Chariot.
Yeah, you said the Chariot.
Yeah,
definitely stuff like that.
I'm curious because I was never into the Christian scene all that much. How was stuff like that taken with, like, let's say, like the earlier generations of Christian musicians?
With earlier generations, it was pretty weird for a while. It was definitely like a subgroup, especially through the 90s. Tooth and Nail Records started in like 93 or 94, something like that. And that became sort of a hub for all the kind of Christian punk and hardcore bands that were being ignored or hated by the rest of the Christian music industry. By the time we got to like the year 2000, they had sort of broken down a lot of those walls and kind of became a lot more normal to listen to the heavier music, I guess.
Well, here's another question. Do you feel like that kind of being pushed out of mainstream Christian music culture is why all of that music is better than everything that came before it? Like, because you weren't accepted, you had to kind of actually rely on the music being good music and maybe playing to secular crowds or something? I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious about this.
Yeah, there was this sort of sense of just like, we're just doing this on our own, making the music that we want to make, that we like. And that's always just in kind of any genre before it gets over commercialized. You're just making the music you want to make.
I find it interesting because I know personally with me, I've never been a big fan of Christian music. Most of it is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But there definitely were a couple bands like that come out of that particular era that genuinely did good music. It wasn't like, oh, this is good Christian music. It was, oh, this is just good music. And they happen to talk about God and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a big fan of Blindside and what they were doing. I came up on MXPX the same as...
We used to talk about the
They were just
Supertones.
part of the pop punk culture.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it's fascinating.
Yeah, I think I always sort of sought out the bands that weren't necessarily in the Christian music industry, but kind of, fit that weird subgroup.
Nice. It was definitely, I mean, I liked the mainstream Christian stuff back in the day. I'm not going to lie. But I also,
She continues to have poor taste to this day. So.
I know. But I also, like, when I wanted to know what the cool kids were listening to, like, that was the stuff that I listened to. I was like, oh my gosh, they've got, like, actual drums and stuff.
He's like, do I really have to sit here and talk about Christian music the entire episode?
Well, no, I mean...
He's like, I'm not a Christian music historian. Like, I was there or whatever.
Oh, right on.
This is like having Iggy Pop from, like, you want to talk to him about the 1970s punk scene.
And he's like, I'm so over it. That was so long ago.
I was doing drugs. What do you want?
Hey, how's it going? Nikki P here. Want to support the show or just give a big middle finger to Patreon? Consider stopping over to supportsll.com. Members of the Freedom Choir get access to the private Facebook group and actual physical merch. Want access to the unedited raw interviews as they're recorded way before they're released? It's in there. Is that not enough? And you want membership to Freedom Song 365? It's in there. There's even monthly bonus swag for top tier supporters. So head on over to supportsll.com. Help Liz and I get to libertarian functions and even just cover the costs of making the show. If I'm not a good enough salesman, how about this?
Support my mom and dad and Sounds Like Liberty. Go to supportsll.com.
You heard her, folks. Join the Freedom Choir at supportsll.com.
So, all right. What are you thinking next, Liz?
Well, so what genres are you into now? Where's your musical journey taking you?
Well, I kind of got more into electronic music over time, and I guess it's been maybe 7 or 8 years ago when I kind of started my music project. That's much more electronic based, and at the time it was very like Postal Service,
Oh, nice.
Mute Math, Passion Pit, kind of stuff that was like electronic, but also was being performed by like a full band, I guess. And so there's that kind of aspect, and I could still kind of go back to like punk rock roots, like some more recent punk bands like Title Fight and Basement and stuff like that. I'm into recently.
I haven't listened to Title Fight in ages. What are they doing now? Are they youth pastors somewhere?
I don't know.
He's like, probably.
They just play shows on the weekends, between soccer games with their kids.
Well, you joke about that. I've ever told you about the story about my partner, John, who was drinking beer with one of his buddies down in Florida, and they stopped into a bar on like a Monday night. And he's looking at the band. He's like, dude, this band, like, they sound a lot like Seven Mary 3. And his buddy goes,
That is
Seven Mary 3.
That's hilarious.
And essentially, they hosted an open mic night in their hometown on Monday nights at this fucking bar in the middle of nowhere.
That's kind of awesome.
Just remember, folks, even if you are famous, it can go away.
Well, I mean, I feel like the smart people, like, they write it to that point, and then they just find a sweet spot, and they just stop trying to push it. Like, Edwin McCain's been playing, like, indie shows and festivals for flippin' ever, and he could have been bigger back in the day when there was, like, the whole Albee thing and all that shiz, but he didn't care. He's just like, yeah, I like this. I can do what I want. Seriously, cat?
Our cat apparently wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Enzo.
But no, that's cool. I dig the electronic. I don't know about the Title Fight, but I do like that that genre of electronic that was kind of more accessible. It wasn't just sounds and lights and madness and drugs. Like, you felt like you needed to be at a rave to get into it. There was other stuff going on.
And here I was missing all that stuff. Anyway. So you know the questions, Liz. You're the question keeper.
Oh, right on. Well, yeah, if we could move on to, do you have a live music experience that you remember that just, like, was awesome? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. Let's see. So I guess you would call it my current music projects, even though I haven't done much recently. But it's basically, I would call it like a punk rock band, but without guitars and just replaced with synthesizers.
Okay.
So Blink-182?
Have
Have you listened to their new album?
I don't think I've listened to the new one.
It sounds like that. It's weird.
I'll have to check it out.
You hear Travis Barker's drums, and then where there should be just two guitars, there's
Really?
synthesizers.
Interesting.
It's weird.
So what's the name of the music project?
It's called 100 Year Dash.
Oh, nice.
Kind of a play on words.
I believe you have an EP released, right?
We do.
And you know how I
Yeah.
know that? Because it's been playing for months in our playlist on the background of the show.
Well, thank you.
You'll get a couple Spotify hits from us. I can't guarantee much, but a little of that.
I'll get my my penny here and there.
Where do we look that up? Is that on Bandcamp? Is that...
Our playlist? No, it's on Spotify.
Well, yes, that I know. I mean, if people wanted to go out and buy said EP.
Yeah, it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes and Amazon. There's a Bandcamp as well.
Nice. What's the name of the record? Is it just self-titled?
It's called the Symmetry EP.
Oh, nice.
It's about math and stuff.
I dig that. I dig
Yeah.
that a lot.
The I was watching a lot of like really lame science documentaries.
Ugh, lame.
Right.
What?
Well, I mean, like,
Those sound awesome.
just like those goofy like Nova documentaries about the universe and galaxies and string theory and stuff like that. And so that kind of was coinciding with the beginning of writing the music that would become 100 Year Dash music. And yeah, so it's all like really science themed. It's all like analogies.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, the real reason I never really pushed for this interview is because I knew that once Liz knew that this music existed, she was leaving me and moving to Memphis. She's like, wait, he makes nerdy electronic music?
About
and
string theory?
And
What?
he's okay to live in the South? Yeah, fuck you. I'm out of here. Take that, kid, and you do what you do.
Yeah, it's pretty different, I'll admit.
It's also very good, folks. I can vouch for it.
Nice.
I am sometimes a hard-to-please person, so...
So are you going to be doing some live music-y stuff to support the EP, or is that a thing that...
Well, that particular EP came out a few years ago.
Oh, right on.
I do have plans to release something else at some point. I just need to do the finishing, tracking, vocals, and stuff like that. And if I can get around to that at some point soon, then there will be something in the future.
Come on, you don't live your life to just track vocals?
Oh yeah.
What's holding it up, man? Come on.
Well, that actually could lead to our next question. How does music fit into your life these days? Because I know it's difficult for people who have like actual relationships with other humans and
Yeah.
bills.
Well, about 5 years ago, some friends of mine and myself, we actually opened a coffee shop and we tried to be entrepreneurs. And so that's been going for the past 5 or 6 years, and that's taken up a lot of my time. And because during that time is kind of, running a business and trying to understand marketing and basic economics, and suddenly I'm interested in politics out of nowhere. So that's all been happening the last couple of years, and there's been quite a bit less music, I guess.
That makes sense. I mean, I wish more people like coming out of high school could get entrepreneurial, because I feel like that does a lot to head off a lot of the nonsense that people get into politically, because they don't understand how all that works.
Yeah, I think nothing leads you to libertarian faster than entrepreneur.
It's like, yes, I worked so hard for this money, and wait, what, you want me to do what with it? You wait, what?
Like, one of the things I would say is during college, and I was in music and kind of the left liberal side of things, or at least I thought, and I honestly thought that I was a Democrat until I became an entrepreneur, and then suddenly I'm a libertarian.
Well, they lure us all in as musicians. Like, we all think for a spell that maybe we're leftists.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, everyone we know are leftists. The only people who aren't leftists are old rednecks. But, you find out eventually, wait, that doesn't make any sense. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. So, do you have a soundtrack moment, a moment that is so tied to music that when you hear that song, you're immediately back there? You are, I don't know, college, usually college.
I'm usually far more crass than to say the song that you lost your virginity to, but other people like to keep that under wraps. So, I respect it.
There's definitely like different seasons where different albums kind of stood out to me, I guess.
Which season do you listen to the soundtrack to? What is it? Garden State.
Garden State. Oh God. It seems like depression season. I don't know.
It's so Zach Braffy.
Yeah.
I once had a girl describe that as a genre.
What?
A girl I knew described. I asked her what kind of music. She goes, I don't know, Zach Braffy kind of stuff. She's like, just something that sounds like it would be on the soundtrack to Garden State. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I like the movie.
It was an interesting movie. But yeah, so you don't have like a song that takes you back immediately. You're transported, like the road trip song. Just kind of like a general feeling is what you got, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anything specific to any specific memories at the moment.
He's like, every time I hear Tell It to My Heart by Taylor Dane, and suddenly at the roller rink, and it's 1998 again.
I feel like he's not that old, but
Tell
that's okay.
me I'm the only one. Is it really love or just a game? Sorry, this is sorry for the aside, folks.
So random.
Look,
All right.
I really like Taylor Dane.
Well, no, I can appreciate it.
You need to do more than appreciate it. You need to respect it.
All right, mad respect, Taylor Dane, right here. All right. All right. Well, if there were, we're there. I think we're there.
Are we there?
I think we're there. If there were 5 records you could recommend that people go out and get. Just they don't have to be your favorite records. Just records you think people need to have experienced in their lives. And it doesn't have to be records if you don't like process music that way. That's cool too.
Yeah, if you're too young, then it's probably a Spotify playlist or something. Or if you're like an EDM
Back
kid.
in my day, we listened to records, I tell you, and
We did.
Let's see. Well, my absolute favorite band is Me Without You.
oh, nice.
Another one of you guys.
It's a good band, man.
It's a Christian thing. That's all it is.
I mean, they were kind of in the Christian market. They weren't exactly Christian per se. There was a lot of
Yeah.
Buddhist and Jewish influence.
Oh, no, I get that. But for whatever reason, the only people I know who are really big fans of Me Without You are people that come from that.
Yeah, fair enough.
And maybe it's because it's that thing that gets them out of exclusively Christian music and into modern mainstream music. Like maybe they bridge that gap. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I
That's
think they
interesting,
kind of paved the way for a lot of that shift.
What's your favorite Me Without You record?
I would have to say Brother Sister.
Oh, nice.
It is a pretty unique band sound-wise and lyric-wise, so I think that's something that should be checked out. It's pretty different.
Didn't we talk about one of their songs on something before?
Oh yeah, there's a whole. I forget what language it was in, but we had to go look up a translation.
Does it sound like Arabic or something?
Yeah, he sings in some other language quite a bit in different asides and songs. Nice, I can dig that.
Nice.
That's like a deep cut for Me Without You. That's not one of the newer ones, I don't think.
I'll take your word for it. So what else would you recommend for listeners to check out?
Let's see. Recently, I've kind of gone through the entire discography of The Cure. So,
are you okay? Is that why you suddenly came out of the blue and like wanted to do this? Are you planning on ending it all? Robert Smith just got you in the mood, and you're like, "That's it. It's time. My last thing.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing."
Too much of that, it gets weird.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm surprised Robert Smith is still here.
Right?
Like how he didn't just end it all, kind of.
Maybe,
it marvels me.
maybe he's one of those people that actually does, exercise the demons by putting it into music, and that's where it stays.
Just puts him on a treadmill.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So, do you have a favorite Cure record?
Was it Disintegration? Is that the name of it?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Nice.
And what is it about that kind of music that draws you in?
I like sad music, I guess. That's kind of
Don't you think it, Liz?
What?
She's all excited. She's like, but he likes sad music, Nick. And I'm like, oh yeah, I get it.
I don't know, it just makes me feel good listening to sad music.
He hates people that much that he needs to wallow in their misery.
Well, no, now I'm wondering, is that like a former church kid thing where like, well, we're not like flagellating ourselves anymore, so we need to have sad music to kind of get that out, and then we're good.
I mean, you might be onto something, because there's a sort of like persona you have to have if you're like in the Christian music industry. You have to like keep this positive attitude the whole time, but then there are these bands where like, what if I don't feel happy all the time,
Yeah.
And so I think that's just part of being human, and these artists trying to be honest with themselves kind of went that direction.
There you go.
That is interesting. What do you think, Liz?
Well, it's not like there weren't those books of the Bible. I'm just saying.
What's the Bible?
Right on. Any more record recommendations off the top of your head?
Let's see.
You want to go out and you want to change someone's life tomorrow and make them be a better person. Forcefully.
With music.
Without stabbing them with the actual CD. What do you put into them?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if any of my music would want people to be better. There's a local artist here who, in the last couple of years, has gotten really popular, and I think her music is really good. Her name is Julian Baker.
Okay.
Yeah, I was running a small music venue, and she used to play shows there, and all of a sudden she's touring the country now, so.
That's very cool.
Yeah, her music is really good.
And what kind of music is it?
It's like indie folk type of stuff, pretty chilled out.
It's so hot right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so hot right now.
It's true. I dig it. I'm not complaining about that. I like that genre in general.
Well, see, when I think indie folk, I think Frightened Rabbit.
Okay.
And then nothing else makes me as happy as Frightened Rabbit does in the indie folk genre. Mostly because they're dirty lyrically sometimes.
Okay.
You can't find love in a hole.
Oh, well, there you go.
It takes more than fucking someone to keep yourself warm. Which is funny, because I will say probably one of the most intense bands I've ever seen in my life, and like the most insanely intense drummer was Frightened Rabbit.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, that their dude was just going bonkers on stage and was just like super, super into it and like way feeling it. And like, this is one of those just shows where you can feel the tension in the room and it's just like, it's vibrating.
Yeah, nice.
Like, those creepy Scottish dudes.
I'm all right with
They were
it.
super, super nice guys, by the way.
Nice.
So, you talk a lot about having run a venue. Do you no longer run a venue? What made you get out of that?
Yeah, that was kind of a part of the college I went to here in Memphis, Visible Music College. I was connected with that, and there was a brief time when I moved away to Oklahoma for a year, so I kind of left that behind before coming back here. But
What was in Oklahoma?
so my roommates at the time, we were trying to do a pop punk band together, and the two guys lived in Oklahoma, and the one guy's family had a farm out there. And so the plan was, hey, let's move to the farm and, farm watermelons and try to practice our music and start this punk band out there. And that didn't really work out like we planned.
I mean, first off, farming is not easy work.
No, it was terrible.
That's the first thing I see being difficult about that is where are you going to find time to do anything but farm? But watermelons also, like in Oklahoma, like you can farm watermelons in Oklahoma?
Yeah, it was awful.
Oh, no.
I think it was a really bad idea. It was a pretty bad idea. On all accounts, it's kind of idea you have when you're in your 20s and the world ahead of you, and you can
Yep.
and you can afford to mess up. Right on. So, do you ever plan to get back into music in a more professional way, or just kind of do your thing with it as you can?
Yeah, I don't know, because like I never really made a whole lot of money from it. It was always sort of a hobby. It was always kind of what I was fascinated by. For a long time, I did really want to be in the industry and have a career in that. I think as far as
What's frustrating to me is that if anyone was going to do it, the guy who actually went to school and got an education and how to do it should be the one. And like,
right, yeah, you would think.
if he can't do it, we're all screwed.
I think the time I went to school for that was an interesting time too, because I was 2007 when I started college for music business, and the industry was changing dramatically at the time.
It's still changing dramatically, but I remember how it felt going into college in 2002. Because when I went to as a concept, when I was trying to go to college in 2002, I wanted to go for recording arts, and there were 14 schools in the country that had recording programs.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Wow.
Only 14. And to get into one of them, you had to have an average of 1,400 or above on your SATs.
Wow.
Wow.
Which means you had to have a perfect score on your SATs, if we're not grasping that. And you typically were like a cello player. And like the recording degree you were going to get was going to be like recording philharmonics and things like that.
Okay.
Now, before I graduated college, I think literally every school in the country had a recording arts program.
Right.
But it was weird to watch everything change and shift so dramatically. And it happened so fast that like I had a computer in my dorm or in my apartment sophomore year of college, and I helped my teacher teach the course in my radio class, because I'd had as much time on the new technology as he had at that point. So it was definitely interesting, and it's only gotten faster since. So,
Yeah.
What are the most interesting changes that you've seen happen?
I mean, when I started at college, we all got our MacBook computers, but that was also 2007 when the first iPhone came out. And so smartphones just, slammed into the scene, and everyone was trying to download music and iTunes and everything. So that kind of changed a lot, because I'd been buying CDs up until that point. And I mean, I still bought CDs after that, but like a lot of people kind of shifted to digital. And then after that, we had Spotify and streaming services. So
Yeah.
I think that to me has been some of the biggest changes in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, the idea that like our kid won't have that concept of owning music the way that we did
Yeah.
when we were
Bullshit,
kids.
she's gonna get my CD collection like an albatross around her neck, and I'm not stopping buying them.
Well, no, she will, but like it's still
Look what
kids
they,
her age at least.
Look what they did to me with the original All American Rejects first record.
I know, and they're doing more of that all the time, which is why I definitely agree.
They retconned that record.
Yeah.
They what?
All right, so the original All American Rejects, their first record had electronic drums on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can't find that record anymore, though. They overdubbed it with live drums when they got the band in the second record.
Really?
Ashamed of their roots. What are you gonna do?
Well, it's not what they recorded in their basement, and like I feel particular about what they recorded in their basement.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's upsetting to me, but it's one of those things where unless you have an original pressing of that CD, you don't have it.
Yeah.
I remember like I got rid of mine over the summer or something, or somebody stole it, and so I went to get a new copy of it, and it was not the same feeling to me.
There you go.
It felt different,
Yeah.
and they're doing it to movies.
They are. I know. It's everywhere.
It is so convenient
thing.
with movies, though. Like, I don't have to go pop the DVD and I just look at it, hit iTunes on my phone, and then it starts playing.
Yep.
Right on. Well, hey, boss, is there anything else you wanted to plug while we still have you on?
I don't know. I think
He's like, I'm just a guy. I run a coffee shop.
Yeah.
I'm into music and, freedom and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
good.
That's cool. Those are the guys we want to talk to.
It is. I like talking to people that are about music and freedom.
Yep.
And hopefully not socialism.
Yeah. Just gives you a little hope knowing that there's more people like that out there.
Oh, I've got plenty of hope. Perhaps too much for my own good sometimes. Right on, Jaron. Well, hey, it has been a fantastic conversation. I would like to thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. I'm glad we
Yeah.
finally got to do it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
So, you go on, boss. Have yourself a good Sunday. Take it easy.
All right. Thanks. See ya.
Your blood boils, it's retreat.